their chin to get out of it.
Yes.
And they put themselves in the choke.
And if your teeth are not good,
And there's the tap. It got to be too much. Jake Hadley still undefeated.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
Squeezes big time, and right now he's immediately apologizing.
Hello, I'm Gooden and welcome to EuroWatch, the weekly show that gives a little shine to European UFC fighters. Coming up is Rodriguez versus Lemos, and there's some important flyweight business on deck. The number 15 ranked Tagir Ulanbekov will be making his fourth walk for the UFC this weekend, and he'll be hoping to hold on to his position in the rankings. He is a popular member of the Eagles MMA team and was in camp with Islam Makhachev ahead of his title-winning bout at UFC 280. The man from Dagestan will be looking to ride that momentum and impress again in the flyweight division. At 31, Ulanbekov is in his prime, and now is the perfect time to really launch an assault on the top spots. A difficult task in 2022, but he's been through worse. Ulanbekov experienced hardship growing up in the mountains of Dagestan and moved to the capital city Makhachkala when he was 8 years old. He credits the late great Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov for believing in him when he was just, in his words, a skinny kid.
The only man who believed in me, Abdulmanap. Thank you.
He went on to become a world champion in combat sambo aged 23 and eventually scaled MMA to win the Fight Nights Global Flyweight title back in 2017. And you can see what a key member he is of the Eagles team by the way they all reacted to his victory. In October 2020, Ulanbekov stepped into the octagon for the very first time and came away with his first UFC W. In his second appearance against Alan Nascimento, it was a brilliant battle between Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and combat sambo. After a back and forth, up and down war, Ulanbekov landed on the right side of a split decision, which earned him an opportunity to fight up the food chain against Tim Elliott. This too was an entertaining fight, but also eventful for Ulanbekov. He got dropped, ate some just about legal knees, and ate another shot from an illegal glove grab, which prompted protests from his corner team. But largely, he couldn't get his game going against the awkward Elliott. This weekend, he welcomes Nate Maness to the flyweight division. He entered the UFC on short notice up at 145 and now tries his skills at 125 in his fifth UFC fight after losing out to Ulanbekov's teammate Umar Nurmagomedov back in June as a bantamweight. Maness has been in some dramatic bouts in his time as a UFC fighter, netting him 2 performance bonuses on the back of come-from-behind victories. But the Dagestan man isn't the kind of fighter you want to let get ahead of you with his disabling style. This could be a fight with lots of flashpoints. This weekend, Jake Hadley will be making his second appearance for the UFC. It has been a year of frustration for the Englishman. Injuries have forced him out of fighting in the UK, and he lost his O when he fought Nascimento back in May. But the fearless MMA fighter sees everything as a test from God and is excited to show us what he can do when he returns to action against Carlos Candelario. For those new to Jake Hadley, he is a lifelong fighter. He comes from a long line of boxers, but ever since he can remember, he stated he wanted to be a UFC fighter. This video actually surfaced after he signed to the promotion.
What I want the most in the world, I want to be a UFC fighter.
Now, being located in the Midlands has not done him any harm either. His teammate and coach Vaughan Lee led the way for fighters out of UTC in Birmingham to get to the UFC. And then Leon Edwards showed everyone you can win a title from the city. Hadley shares the same wrestling and strength and conditioning coach as Leon, whilst also having been around him on the mat since he was a teenager. Hadley is tackling his 10th professional contest this weekend, but he has a solid body of work to this point. The combined records of his last 6 opponents is a credible 58-15, and in that time, Hadley has appeared as the away fighter in Las Vegas, South Africa and Ireland, picking up 2 legit MMA title wins with EFC and Cage Warriors along the way. Hadley got his UFC contract through Dana White's Contender Series. He showed the UFC brass his overall MMA game, including his high-pressure style, creativity on the ground, and of course his finishing ability. And there were similarities to this Contender Series fight to what we've seen before from Hadley. Solid striking out of his southpaw stance with fight-changing kicks and technical takedowns. The cherry on top is his signature strut and strong posing as well. Not wanting to labour too hard on his last fight, but I'm excited to see this new version of Hadley. He recently said he never thought he'd lose a fight over 3 rounds, so he'll take the lessons from that result. The phrase "you win or you learn" gets thrown around a lot, but that is not an automatic process. You need to proactively work on weaknesses repeatedly for positive change, and that is what I'm hearing out of Hadley's camp. There was post-fight analysis, followed up with a programme of improvement. I also noticed in his corner team for this bout is Polaris grappler Bradley Hill, so I expect Hadley to have sharpened his already dynamic jiu-jitsu game. The Midlander knows he's in for a tough night with Candelario. With a background as a Golden Gloves boxer, a kickboxer and a jiu-jitsu player, the New England man like Hadley has proved he can get the fight done anywhere. He has shown solid ground and pound and toughness during his octagon outings, and he'll be looking to get that experience of having his arm raised in the UFC. Thanks very much for watching, enjoy the fights, and I'll be back next week.